Welcome to Achievers. Students, today we are going to discuss the important questions and the questions asked in previous years from the chapter Chemical Reactions and Equations. As you're aware, this year 2020-21 session, the few of the chapters have been removed from the syllabus because of the situation. So the weightage of each chapter of chemistry increases. In previous years, from this chapter, 4 to around 5 mark question used to come. So this year the weightage of each chapter will increase. So accordingly, I have compiled some of the questions which are important from this chapter and some of the questions which have been asked in previous years from the different papers. As you are aware, CBC makes different sets. So I have tried to bring out the questions from this chapter which have been asked in previous years. So let's begin with that. Let's begin first with the positive thought, which says that watch your actions as they becomes your habits. Okay, so watch your habits, have good habits. Okay, so first question which have been asked is that when 1 gram of copper powder was taken in a china dish and heated. First part of this question asks that what change takes place on heating. Second part asks that when hydrogen gas is passed over this heated substance, a visible change can be seen in it. So what that visible change is. And the third part of this asks that give the chemical equation which takes place during this reaction. And second thing, it is also asking, remember, always read the question very carefully and be careful about, and when you are reading the question, underline those important points which you are aware that you have to cover as a part of the answer of that question. Like in this, what change takes place? Second part is, second, when hydrogen gas is passed over it, what visible change takes place? Okay. The third part asks is chemical equation of the reaction. Now next, remember, this also has a name. The color of the products formed is also asked. So whenever you are answering or when you are reading the question before answering, please underline the main points of the question which are asked in this way. Okay, so when you are answering, you will cover each and every point. So the A part says that what change takes place on heating copper in the china dish. So on heating copper, you are aware the copper will react. The reaction goes like this. When we heat the copper in presence of oxygen in the china dish, it forms copper oxide, and the reddish brown color of the copper changes into the black color of copper oxide, because copper oxide is of blackish in color. So when you are heating it, the upper part of the topmost layer of that copper start turning blackish because it is in direct contact with the air or oxygen, so it reacts with that. Then second part is that what happens when hydrogen gas is passed over it. So the reaction which takes place when we pass hydrogen gas over it is the copper oxide again reacts with the hydrogen gas and this copper oxide is heated up. Okay, so again this copper oxide is reduced and copper is separated and water get formed. So this first part of reaction is an oxidation reaction, and in second part it is a reduction reaction where, and along with this copper and oxygen, this is a combination reaction also. As you can see, the two reactants are joining to form one product. So whenever you are doing any type of reaction, don't think from just one point of view, think from different point of view as well, that what type of reaction it is, what change is taking place during this reaction, what are the conditions required for this reaction to take place, because in objective type or in the short answer type question, such small points can be asked. So be prepared for that. Okay, so this was the change which we have it. Okay, the same question has also been asked in different ways, like this one, that you might have noticed that when copper powder is heated in a china dish, the reddish brown surface of the copper powder become coated with the black substance. Okay, so it has asked the same question in different format. What that is? First question is asking that why has this black substance formed? Okay, second is what is this black substance? The third is what is the chemical reaction that is taking place during this change? And fourth is how can the black coating of surface be turned into reddish brown back? Okay, so you are aware that this is as as a 3-mark question. Okay, so when we answer the first part, what has this black substance formed, you are aware that when the black color, this copper, which is reddish brown, when it will react with the as we have seen in the last question also, when this copper will react with the oxygen, this black colored substance, copper oxide, is formed. So the answer of this is that the black colored substance is copper oxide. The second part, what is this black substance? That is this copper oxide. Okay, and this was, why has this formed? This black colored copper oxide is formed because copper has reacted with the oxygen from the air. Okay, the third part is this reaction. We have given the reaction, and the fourth part is how can the black coating of that surface be removed or changed back to reddish brown of copper. So this, the same reaction which we have seen in the previous, that when on passing hydrogen through this copper oxide, it will change back into copper plus water, which we have seen in the previous question as well. Now moving on further, the third question it is asking is 3 gram of ferrous sulphate crystals are heated in a test tube, fine, or sorry, dry boiling tube, or you can heat in any of thing. So when this ferrous sulphate crystals are heated, so what is asking? List any 2 observations. What do you observe when you heat that? Second, name the type of chemical reaction which is taking place during this. And third part it is asked is, write the balanced chemical equation for the reaction. Fine, so you can understand there are 3 parts. So let's start with the A part. When we heat the ferrous sulphate crystals, the ferrous sulphate crystals are greenish in color. So when you heat them, the color changes, so the discoloration takes place. And second is the gases are released. So when you will be heating that in a boiling tube, you will see that some gases are getting evolved and the green color has changed. So these are the 2 observations which you will see in this question. And second part is that what is the type of chemical reaction it is, because only one substance was there which was ferrous sulphate, and now the gases are also evolving. That means there might be some breaking down of that component and the new subproducts are forming. So it's a decomposition type of reaction, and when we observe it and when we study the reaction further, we can say that it was a decomposition reaction only. So this ferrous sulphate on heating, it changes into ferric oxide, sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide. Okay, so in the lab when this reaction is taking place, we perform few more experiment activities to know that what these gases formed are. And we can also test that what that solid substance formed is, correct? So and when we have tested that, we have found that this is ferric oxide and sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide are formed. So this is a decomposition reaction, and it is a reaction in which these from one product, from one reactant, 3 products are getting formed. Fine. Now the fourth question, it is asked that what do you observe on adding zinc granules to the freshly prepared ferrous sulphate solution, and give reason to your answer. This is also asked in 2019. Hope you remember now here this reactivity series, like which is more reactive metal and which is less reactive. Here you will need this, you have to keep that in mind. Okay, so when we keep that in mind and when we see that how zinc will react with the ferrous sulphate. Now you can observe here, but if you remember this reactor series, that this iron and this is zinc. So you can see that zinc is more reactive as compared with iron. So iron will definitely will be replaced by the zinc, and zinc will take its place. So from here the iron is replaced by the zinc. The zinc is more powerful, more reactive, so zinc will displace the iron from here, will push it from here and will take its place. So zinc sulphate plus iron is formed. Okay, now what is the reason you are aware? Zinc being more reactive displaces iron from the iron sulphate solution. The fifth question which is asked is, what change comes on adding zinc granules to copper sulphate solution? Here we have added in the ferrous sulphate solution, here we are adding in the copper sulphate solution. Okay, now again you will need this. Now you can see here copper is somewhere here and the zinc is here. So zinc is again more reactive, so you can easily understand that zinc will again replace the copper also from the solution and will form zinc sulphate, and the copper will be separated. So such reactions can be used in different industries, so you can understand. Fine, we will be discussing that in different chapters which will be coming next. Okay, the next one is, what is the reason for this? That zinc is more reactive, so it displaces the copper from copper sulphate solution. Okay, moving on further, sixth question is, what type of reaction takes place during rusting of iron? Okay, rusting is a very common phenomena which we can see around ourselves. Okay, what happens during is, during rusting, the iron reacts with the oxygen from the air and it forms iron oxide. Fine, and what is the reaction which is taking place here? That this iron will react with the oxygen from the air and in the presence of moist air. This is a condition required, that moist air should be there. Fine, and this ferric oxide is formed. Fe2O3 is formed. And what type of reaction is this? Now you can see here, from these two components, this one product is forming. Fine, so two reactants are joining together to form one product. That means it's a combination reaction. Fine, and you can see here that the oxygen is being added to iron, so it is an oxidation type of reaction. Hope you remember that oxidation means addition of oxygen or removal of hydrogen. Reduction means addition of hydrogen and removal of oxygen. That means they're quite like opposites. Okay, and they both take place mostly simultaneously. Fine. Okay, moving on further, question number 7. It is being asked again in 2020, which says that what change can be observed when green colored ferrous sulphate crystals are heated in a test tube. Now the next is, what characteristic smell comes during this reaction and what is a chemical reaction which takes place during this change. So let's take one by one. The first one, you are aware, we have discussed in previous question, that when ferrous sulphate crystals are heated up, the green color of the ferrous sulphate goes away. Ferric oxide, sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide are formed, and this is a decomposition reaction. Now the second is, what is a characteristic smell, comes during this reaction? The characteristic smell of burning of sulfur comes during this reaction. Okay, and the C part, what chemical reaction is taking place? It is the same which we have discussed, that the ferrous sulphate will be broken down into ferric oxide, sulfur dioxide, sulfur trioxide, and here don't forget to balance the reaction. We have used 2 as a coefficient so that the reaction get balanced. Okay, moving on further, the next question asks that what happens when silver chloride is exposed to sunlight. So whenever we are reading a chapter, please see that some of the statements which has been written, or some of try to know the reason behind whatever is happening around us or in the different phenomena. Okay, so that can be asked as a reason 1 mark question or something. Okay, so first question is, silver, what happens when silver chloride is exposed to sunlight? And the B part which is asked is, where these types of reactions are used. Okay, so the first part is, that's when silver chloride is exposed to sunlight, it decomposes to silver and chloride gas. The reaction which takes place is this. This is a photosensitive, or the reaction which is controlled or which takes place in the presence of sunlight, because the energy is absorbed from sunlight. Okay, so this AgCl breaks down into Ag and Cl2 gas. Right? Where these types of reactions are used? These are used in this black and white photography. Okay, so if there is something particular about any reaction, keep that in mind. Okay. Okay, the next question comes is, this is a MCQ which has been asked again in 2020. Different sets are there, as you are aware. I would have taken it from some of the sets. Okay, the calcium oxide reacts vigorously with water to produce slaked lime. Okay, this calcium oxide, which is called quicklime, it reacts with the water to form this slaked lime, that is calcium hydroxide. Okay, now it is asking that this reaction can be classified as which type of reaction. Okay, is it a combination reaction? Is it an exothermic reaction? It is endothermic or oxidation, or it is a combination of these. So which of the option is a correct option, it is asking. So A and B, or it is C and D, or it is ACD, or it is AB. So you can understand that simply by looking at a reaction we can understand first that it is a combination reaction. That means A is a part of the answer. Second, if you have read this about this reaction in the textbook carefully, then you can understand that when we pour the water in this quicklime or calcium oxide, so heat is liberated. Okay, so that heat which is released, because as heat is getting released, so it is a exothermic type of reaction. So the both A and B are the type of reaction which is taking place here. So this D option is the correct one, which is A and B type of reaction. Moving on further, the 10th question which I have taken for you is that when hydrogen sulfide gas is passed through a blue solution of copper sulphate, hydrogen sulfide gas is passed through a blue solution of copper sulphate and a black ppt of copper sulfide is formed. Okay, hydrogen sulfide gas is passed through a solution of copper sulphate and the black ppt of copper sulfide is formed, and sulfuric acid is also formed in the reaction. Now what type of reaction it is? Now before that, now you have to see here, whereas it is MCQ, but you have to write the reaction and see which type of reaction it is. Fine, this has also been asked in one of the exams in some of the sets in CBSE. Okay, so it is asked. Now let's understand what reaction is taking place here. This is a hydrogen sulfide, it's reacting with the copper sulphate, and here the copper sulfide plus sulfuric acid is getting formed. Now you can see here the position of some of these ions is getting changed. The copper has changed its position from here and has gone to react with this, and the hydrogen has gone to react with the sulfate group. So you can understand that the position of which ions? Cations, the positive ions is getting changed here. So whenever you observe a reaction, when you look at that the position of ions is getting changed, that means, and how many ions are changing their position? 2 ions. That means it is a double displacement reaction. So don't jump to the conclusions. First see the reaction, write the reaction, observe it, and then write put the correct answers. Fine. Moving on to the next question. Question 11, which I have taken for you, write the reaction that takes place when slaked lime in freshly whitewashed walls react with the carbon dioxide. We have put a white wash on the walls using slaked lime. Now this slaked lime reacts with the carbon dioxide from the air. Now what reaction takes place in that reaction? Okay, in that process. And second part of it is what happens when this solid substance which is formed, solid product which is formed in this reaction, above reaction, is heated. Now what change takes place? So let's see the first reaction. When this slaked lime, that is calcium hydroxide, it reacts with the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere on the whitewashed wall, it forms calcium carbonate. Okay, and water is separated. In the second step, when this calcium carbonate is heated up, okay, when this is heated up, calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide are formed. So it is it's a decomposition type of reaction, and in this process you can understand the calcium oxide and carbon dioxide has formed again. So these are some of the questions which I have taken for you from this previous year's papers which have been asked from the chapter 1. If you that's all for today. If you have any other question, you can ask me. Till then, take care, keep learning. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, you can subscribe it and you can share with your friends as well. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye.